our Jimmy Grande First Alert Storm Tracker. This is a vehicle that's actually moving across Caddo Parish here in some of those conditions that Austin was just describing here. You can see how the windy and rainy across all the Arklatex. Again, we don't recommend driving out in the region here right now. Again, this is a live look right now on our Jimmy Grande First Alert Storm Tracker here in the Arklatex. Sorry, Granger First Alert Jimmy Grande First Alert Storm Tracker. Again, this is a live looking picture here in the Arklatex. This is a live look in northern Caddo Parish. We can try to get our picture as clear as it can be out there, but overall it is incredibly windy, incredibly rainy. So it's a difficult commute wherever you're traveling along the Arklatex, especially along those embedded line that's all across the region here right now. We have strong wind gusts in place currently. It is a very difficult time visibility-wise anywhere in the region. So again, stay First Alert weather aware with us. We're going to head over to meteorologist CJ Cartledge, who has more on the power outages that have been ongoing behind this system in eastern Texas, areas that have already had these extreme winds in place.
Yes, these extreme winds have pushed the tally up to 28,792, with the same three counties being the highest of these totals here. The customer outages in Gregg County, Texas seems to be up to 5,786. A little bit more in Harrison County, up to 8,609, and still in third place in terms of the amount of outages that we have here across the Arklatex is Caddo Parish at around 3,876, and it's most likely grew since this line moved into Caddo Parish just moments ago. Still dealing with that tornado warning that just moved into Bossier Parish, and I could expect that total to rise a little bit as we head through the next few minutes or so. It's currently just over 1,000. And just quick, once again, we're going to read some damage reports. We have a couple of reports of wind gusts getting up to 60 miles per hour with the system that rolled through Caddo Parish and Shreveport and Bossier and headed more into Bossier Parish. And there's also another thunderstorm wind gust in Burke and Angelina, Texas, just moments ago. And once again, just wrapping this up here, there are continuing the tornado warning that is for central Bossier Parish until 10 a.m. time. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter, so make sure to get in a sturdy building. Once again, an interior room with no windows or connections to the outside. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur, and tree damage is likely. So I'm just going to send this back to meteorologist Matt Jones in the First Alert Weather Center.
Yeah, thank you, CJ, and thanks to the team. We're doing a great job today. Good news is it looks like we are down to just that one tornado warning right now, and I don't know if they're going to continue that or not. I'm not really seeing any strong signature of a tornado currently, but we're going to take a look at that in a second. What I want to do again is a track of this entire line. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit closer into the Shreveport-Bossier metro, and if you're out towards, say, Blanchard, guess what? Your severe threat is done for the entire day. This line is booking it to the east, so as I mentioned, it's anybody ahead of this line that's still under that threat. If you're behind this line of storms, you're done. You're done with that severe weather threat. So let's do another track on this. And again, these storms are racing to the east at around 50 to 60 miles an hour. So we'll do an updated track and see which locations are in the path now. And as you can see, every time I do this, it does kind of change the timing of when this is going to arrive. So Houghton looking now, so it's over Houghton as we speak. Minden 953, Homer 1004, and again, this track is not really capturing a lot of our little towns in our eastern portions of the Arklatex. This is actually getting outside of our viewing area. But what I want to do is zoom in a little bit closer and see if we can kind of get more towns in this track. So let's kind of zoom into I-20 and I-220. So right in that area near Houghton, that's this place we really want to pay close attention to, because that's where we do still have that tornado warning. So let's take that to the east. And again, that does include a little bit more information with some of the smaller towns. So Dolene around 949. Again, you can see Minden around 955, Sibley at 957, Ringgold, that'll be just after 10 a.m. So about 10:08, Gibbsland to 1014. And this is basically traveling right along the interstate, right along I-20. Let's take a look at our velocity again and see if we have any sort of circulation. And I really don't see anything, to be honest with you, that's standing out at this time. So, based on this, let's take a look at our debris tracker as well. There might be something north of, no, that's just a That's just ground clutter. So pretty much based on what I'm seeing, I don't see anything that would scream that there's, you know, a tornado in progress at this time. This tornado warning continues until what, 10 a.m.?
Yes, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. So
We'll see about that.
So hopefully, yeah, we'll see what the National Weather Service does. Based on what I've seen here, I really don't. There's nothing that stands out to me that says we got some big, you know, tornado that's doing damage at this point.
Real quick, Matt, we just have an update from the National Weather Service.
thanks.
They are not issuing a tornado warning downstream of this into Webster Parish. I want to keep people first alert about that. And one more other thing I want to talk about real quick since I have the mic. We've gotten some reports of some things happening and ongoing in Caddo Parish, specifically in downtown Shreveport, that our crews are out responding to right now. We have utility lines down on Sycamore Street and Murphy Street at that intersection around there. We also have a major traffic accident to report at Old Mooringsport Road and Allen Street here at this time too. And we have ongoing rescues, I believe, at Commerce Street and Street Street. These are some of the areas that have been absolutely drenched under the torrential rain and wind in these areas. So please, even though some of the rain is past, the wind is past, and you think the main line's already out of the way in the Shreveport-Bossier area, it's still just not a good time to get out and around, especially as we're getting some of these reports into our newsroom.
Yeah, no, that's thank you so much, Evan, and that's good advice there. You don't want to be out in this regardless because of the heavy rain. As I was coming into work just about an hour ago, or 45 minutes ago, there's a lot of flooding going on already. That's a live look again from our tower cam, our Mattress Plus Sky Cam, and you would normally see the downtown area, but you can see the wind is whipping here, the rain is coming down heavily, so flash flooding could be a concern as well, even though I don't think we have any flash flood warnings. There's definitely some ponding out there, and it could cause some issues. Let me go to one of our other cameras. I don't think we've shown this one in quite a while. This is our Matthews Landscape and Pest Sky Cam. This is up at a bit of a higher elevation here. This is one of our newer cameras, and I believe that is pointed in the direction, I have no idea, but that might be downtown in the distance, but you can see the heavy rain is falling there as well. So really what's going on right now is we have a damaging wind threat and a heavy rainfall threat, I think at least temporarily, and I don't want to, I don't want to jinx us here, but I think temporarily the tornado threat seems to be waning, at least for the time being. So that's good news. You can see it's more of just a linear line at this point. But that line is fairly extensive. I mean, this is basically going from southern Arkansas, so near Magnolia on the north end here, all the way through the Shreveport-Bossier metro areas. This extends now into northwestern DeSoto. So if you're watching from DeSoto Parish there, go ahead and take shelter. And this actually extends all the way down just to the east of Nacogdoches. So this entire line across the Arklatex is being warned for that damaging wind potential. And that's really the biggest threat, I think, at this point. So you can really kind of make out where that damaging wind is. You can see that line showing up on the Doppler radar. That is the wind going away from the radar site here. So all this wind is pushing now away from the radar site, and that is where we could see some gusts up to 60 and maybe 70 miles an hour. As of now, though, I do not see anything in our debris tracker that would suggest we have a tornado in progress. But as we've seen today, you can see these things spinning up very, very quickly. And so that's something we're going to be really keeping a close eye on. And so what we really want to watch here are, I'm going to circle this for you so you can better see what I'm talking about. Anytime you get a little bit of a kink in that line of storms, that's where we could see a circulation. So, I mean, there's all kinds of areas that we're watching. There's a little spot here up into Webster Parish there. There's a little spot just to the south and west of Minden right there. So you can see anywhere where that line kind of juts out a little bit like that, there are circulations. There might be even one south of Magnolia. So all along this line of storms, we get these brief little circulations, and that's what the National Weather Service has been warning on so far today, are these quick spin-up type tornadoes. And they don't last very long, but the problem with this type of situation is these tornadoes can form very rapidly. So you might not get as much warning as you normally would in a situation like this. So that's why I'm saying, even if you are not underneath a tornado warning, treat this whole line of storms seriously, because again, these things can spin up very rapidly. So even if you're technically underneath just a severe thunderstorm warning, I would still take your tornado precautions. I would still maybe just get into an interior room, because better be safe than sorry if one of these things does spin up very, very quickly.
Yeah, one other thing to mention, we just got a wind gust report in from downtown Shreveport of a wind gust up to 59 miles an hour with that embedded line. So this line is still, even though the tornadic threat is dropped here for the moment in time being, just so to speak, the wind's still very incredibly heavy, especially if you're out driving on those roadways. I can imagine even swerving my car around in those kind of winds, and that is embedded all along the line. That's why we still have those immense amounts of severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing throughout the Arklatex.
Not to mention the ground's real soft. We've gotten a lot of rain recently. Ground's real soft, 60-mile-per-hour wind can knock over a weaker tree, perhaps, or a tree that's maybe damaged or sick. That could be an issue that we run into, which is likely why we're seeing power outages kind of ramping up, and we're going to continue to monitor these storms. Again, even if you're not under a tornado warning per se, the wind speeds are still rather significant, and I believe I believe CJ was wanting to discuss some of those power outages that again are growing in numbers. He's over there at the touchscreen right now. Let's send it over to him.
Yeah, as of right now, we're still sitting at the same amount of power outages as we were before, where I talked about around 28,792, with these 3 counties here receiving the heaviest of the rainfall as of right now associated with this main line moving through, as well as the downstream tornado warnings that have been issued for these 3 counties here. Still sitting at around 5,000 or just above 5,500 customer outages, around 8,609, power outages in Harrison County, and still in Caddo Parish, 3,876. Let's see if any has increased in Bossier Parish. It does not look like it has increased at all either. So we're still dealing with power outages, and we could have some more power outages to come as we move closer or get more as this system continues to move off to the east. But as you can see, there's been a new update with the power outages that we have gained around 90 power outages near Bossier Parish as of right now. That Caddo Parish number has jumped nearly 3,000 in number, or 3,000 outages, near 6,000 as of right now in Caddo Parish, 7,000 here in Harrison. So they're working on repairing these power outages near Harrison. I believe it was near 8,600 just before. Now it's at 7,000 currently in Harrison County, and Gregg County has grown a little bit too at around 5,427. And all these other counties and parishes in the blue and yellow, or not the yellow, but the green here, just around 2,000 near Bowie County. That includes Texarkana and Miller County as well, which includes Texarkana with around 143. These bluer shades here denote the lesser amount of power outages, mainly just below 1,000 or just above 1,000 here for this greenish color, and above maybe 2,000 or 3,000 for this orange color here for Gregg County, Harrison County, and Caddo Parish as well. We'll be monitoring these power outages for the duration of the rest of the system. So back to you in the green wall there, meteorologist Austin Evans.
All right, so we're continuing to track these storms. We're not likely to see a downstream tornado warning, according to the National Weather Service. We're not going to see that. Again, we still have this tornado warning for Red Chute. You just saw Eastwood disappear in Houghton following the I-20 corridor. We're going to continue to monitor this because this could spin up again, though it's not really rotating at this time, or at least not to any significant standard. We're still seeing this warning here at least for the next 13 minutes, and unless they cancel it, of course, and we'll let you know if that happens. Not expecting a downstream warning, and I do want to take a look at something right after I send it back over to CJ. CJ?
Yes, there has been a report from Bossier Parish Sheriff Office that a tornado had touched down near Highway 80 and Louisiana Downs. Public service units are rolling in on that direction according to the scanner traffic. So that's the latest update from the National Weather Service chat. Back to you, Austin.
Thank you, CJ. I'm going to try to find where that...
That's, I can pitch into this. I-220 next to US 79, that's exactly where Louisiana Downs is, right around there. That's essentially East Texas Street if you drive eastbound, way east of town, heading over towards Houghton, essentially, in Red Chute, out near that area. While I have the reports on me, real quick, I believe we have another report of a water rescue here. I believe it's on Douglas Street and Milo Street as well. Also got a traffic accident that's been reported to us by Arkansas DOTD. Arkansas State Highway 41 has a traffic accident that was reported about an hour ago, and it's a little old, but it could still be backed up at this time, again, as we have torrential rain and wind still coming across the region here at this point. Your chief meteorologist, Matt Jones, has more coming in just a second, but I just wanted to let you finish your thought over there, Austin.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm wanting to show the whole line here, and Thankfully, we can say that the farther south you go, at least for now, the less intense things are. We haven't seen really any tornado warnings since that one earlier, though we still have the entirety of this line under a severe thunderstorm warning. If you're in behind this line, I guess you can chill pretty much for the rest of the day because your severe threat is over. This is a morning system, so the line again still extending from the northern edge to the southern edge of the Arctic, along with the severe thunderstorm warning that is out in front of it. And again, treat these severe thunderstorm warnings very seriously. Go ahead and take the precautions, get the cat and dog crates and carriers ready and the leashes ready and whatnot. Be ready to take your tornado safe space unless you just want to. Maybe you have an office that doesn't have any windows, kind of weird, but it would be something that would help you be a little bit safer in these situations, because we got a high wind threat throughout the entire Arctic. We're actually under a wind advisory even outside of these storms, and these storms capable of producing wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour. I think we've seen 70 miles per hour at some points this morning. And with how soft the ground is, we've gotten a lot of rain recently, even outside of the rain that's falling right now. The ground's real soft. It can topple a tree, a power pole rather easily because of how soft the ground is. So we're continuing to monitor these storms. That tornado warning that is still in effect for portions of Bossier Parish.
Just got canceled.
Just got canceled.
Yep, just got canceled.
Okay. So 10 minutes early, and we now don't have any tornado warnings in effect, and that is a good thing. We want to see that, especially as we head into the midday hours. I'm going to send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones for some decision making.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to stick with you guys. We're going to hang out here and continue to do this live coverage until 10 a.m. at the top of the hour. And if we don't get any more tornado warnings by 10 o'clock, just for people in the back there, we could probably go back to regular programming by about 10 a.m. Now, if something obviously gets reissued, then we're going to be stuck on here for a little bit longer. But as we just mentioned, we actually don't have any tornado warnings right now. Let me just triple check myself. Yeah, so these are all just severe thunderstorm warnings now along that entire line, which, by the way, even though we don't technically have a tornado warning, this line is still very dangerous. We're still talking about damaging winds, and as we've seen so far today, we can still see those tornadoes spinning up very, very quickly. So just because we really don't have any tornado warnings right now, you really shouldn't let your guard down, especially if you're in the eastern half of the Arctic, because again, as I mentioned earlier, anywhere along this line of storms, we could see those tornadic circulations, and they could form quickly. I mean, literally it takes one radar scan, and you could have nothing and suddenly have a tornado on the ground. So that's how fast these things can form. And again, there are still a few areas that I'm a little concerned with. So let me just still track. I still want to do an updated track on this line. So we're going to take it from Webster Parish all the way down just south and east of the Shreveport-Bossier metro areas and continue to make its way east. And I just heard our little alarm going off. Hopefully it's not another tornado warning.
I haven't gotten a text message yet.
No, that's a good
neither.
thing. Yeah, we all have our National Weather Service chat room. Here. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so here's the locations in the path of this squall line as we move forward. Minden at 9:55, so that's just a few minutes from now. Homer at 10:05, Ringgold at 10:08, and if you go farther east along I-20 here, we got Arcadia on there, 10:23. I'm not sure if we have any viewers. We might have a few out in Ruston, so timing for you is about 10:45 there. But let me actually adjust this just a little bit, because every time I draw this track on here, the storms have already passed, where I drew the line. So again, I don't think it'd change the times all that much. But you can see Minden 9:53, Arcadia 10:21, and Ruston 10:42. So just about an hour, maybe less, because again, this thing is racing off to the east. Let's look at the velocity again, just to see if we see anything that is concerning. What was that? What was? Okay, anyway, so here's the line pushing through. We can see some strong winds kind of pushing forward here. So this is the leading edge of that damaging wind potential as it pushes its way to the east here. So anywhere where you see kind of that red and green line, basically, that's the strong winds coming out from the storm. And so right along there, that's where you could have that damaging wind potential up to about 50 to 60 miles an hour. And again, looking right along this line, I don't really see anything that looks like it's rotating at this time. But as I mentioned earlier, what we need to watch for are some of these little kinks in the line. So you kind of see one here just to the south and west of Haynesville. There might be a little something else just to the north of Minden here. So anywhere along this where you see these little, where it's not really a smooth line, any of these little kinks in the line, they could start to rotate. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then looking down towards Shreveport and Bossier. Well, good news here if you're watching from the Shreveport-Bossier metros, our severe threat is already done. In fact, this line is moving even faster than our fastest forecast models were saying yesterday. So, I mean, this is actually a good thing because this means that we're going to be out of this by about noon in most of the area. But again, the worst of this has now cleared Shreveport and Bossier. So if you're watching from Shreveport and Bossier, I can officially tell you that we are in the clear. No more severe weather through the rest of the day. It's anybody ahead of this line that still has that risk. And as we look further south, you're watching from DeSoto Parish, watching in Mansfield. I would go ahead and get in your safe space as well in Mansfield because this line also, as it moves into DeSoto Parish, has the potential for some damaging winds. Logansport, you're getting hammered right now. And this actually does extend all the way down into our East Texas counties here. So just east of Center, just to the west of Huxley there, this is going to actually move into northern portions of Sabine Parish near Converse. They're right along Louisiana 191, Louisiana 481 here. So again, that line still could have some damaging wind potential, and this whole line is still quite dangerous. So let's zoom out. Let's do a 3-hour-long loop, and you can see how fast this thing is tracking east across the area. And anywhere along this line here, again, we have that potential for some damaging winds. Any updates from chat or anything you guys see?
I haven't heard anything, but it's something that we were somewhat, somewhat joking about yesterday, that the storms could move so quickly that the tornadoes wouldn't be able to keep up with them, and that does kind of appear to be the case today because a tornado situation doesn't really want to move as quickly as these storms are moving, and these are moving at faster than highway speeds in some situations. So we'll monitor this for the next 5 minutes, make sure everything behaves itself. Precaution, there's some really strong winds still in this system, and that can cause problems and will likely continue to cause problems at least for the next couple of hours, even outside of a tornado threat. Evans?
I just wanted to prove your point, essentially. These storms moved through Dallas about 5:30 this morning, and obviously they just moved through Shreveport around 9. So really intense, quickly moving storms. The drive from Dallas to Shreveport is like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just as fast as you could drive between Dallas and Shreveport. Actually, it's probably faster because the weather doesn't have to wait up for traffic, So this is a very quick moving system. Might be the quickest I've seen in a long time moving through the Arklatex. So, if we can get done with the severe threat in the Arklatex by like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that will be perfectly okay with me. And again, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones said, the Shreveport metropolitan area, Bossier City, for the most part, you're pretty much done. You still got some heavy rain in the area right now, but in terms of a tornadic threat, and even to a slightly lesser extent, the damaging wind threat, pretty much over for that area. And if you're saying Jefferson, Marshall, Carthage, Nacogdoches, you're done for the day. You can chill out for the day. Texarkana as well, Ida, Cookeville, Nashville. Anything west of this leading edge, you're pretty much done with the severe threat today. And I know, Matt, you had pulled up a camera just briefly there, and I think all of our cameras are still working.
Yep.
So if you want to discuss what you were pulling up.
I mean, I was just I was looking at some of the various cameras just trying to see, how this line is progressing. You can see, and Evan, I'll get to you in just a sec, but notice that Texarkana, we are starting to clear. We see more visibility here. Let's take a look at our KSLA tower cam here on the top of our building, and still some heavy rain, but the worst of it has definitely passed through, although you see the heavy rainfall still causing issues. Evan?
We just wanted to keep people first alert about ongoing issues that are happening around the Shreveport-Bossier area that have been made known to us. Because even though the storms have passed, still some very windy conditions, we do have a wind advisory in effect until 9 p.m. tonight. So even if the storms go by, we still have strong winds coming on through as we're just starting to give you the first alert to your traffic. I believe we have heavy backups on the interstate, obviously right along the wind gust line. But just before you go into some of that traffic graphic.
Notice where the rain is heaviest, over Houghton. The traffic is the worst.
Yeah, it's wild. But I wanted to real quickly give people some intersections that SPD is really checking out here at this rate. Sycamore Street and Murphy Street has a reported utility line down on it, so don't look to cross over that intersection. We also have intense water and a huge amount of water reported on some of our intersections around Commerce Street and Spring Street. And also we have an ongoing rescue reported on Douglas Street and Milam Street as well. Matt, more on the traffic?
Yeah, and that's one thing about the Shreveport-Bossier Metro is like, as you know, it does not take a lot of rain to cause some flooding. I was on my way in when this just started and there was flooding all over. So I would avoid traveling if you can, even though we're not technically underneath a tornado warning anymore. I would avoid traveling. Give it at least maybe an hour or two for this water to start to recede a little bit, maybe longer. I think by noon we should be mostly looking a lot better in the Shreveport-Bossier Metros. Just got a report from the National Weather Service. They're actually saying there could be a little bit of hail potentially with this storm. However, the tornado threat appears to be dwindling. So at least for now, I think we're going to end the coverage here in just a minute, probably at the top of the hour.
Yeah, there's also an elongated area of lower CC, or correlation coefficient, which means debris is being lofted up. Damages or the high winds are bringing a lot of damage to areas just west of Doyline and near Dixie Inn and Sibley, and just west of Dubberly too.
Yeah.
So the Dubberly area, make sure to be in your tornado-safe space. There's
yeah, that's
not
actually
imminent.
That's actually sorry, CJ. That's actually kind of meaning more. They're talking more about a large hail threat, so it's mostly a hail threat. We don't have any tornado doing damage or anything. But
Right.
It's just mostly.
Right.
Hail.
It was mostly like damaging winds, or that's what I was trying to say, was the damaging winds or the hail threat. There's a lot of debris being damage being issued, or as of right now in that area.
This is actually the highest the hail threat's been so far, and just briefly, we'll send it back over to the chief meteorologist in just a moment. This is the hail track, and this is the current hail situation. Again, it's not all that large, but it is kind of the largest it's been through this situation, and if hail is indeed falling here, that's where that correlation coefficient's picking up, and we'll monitor that going forward. Again, no tornado warnings right now in the Arklatex, which is a good thing. But actually, you can see just to the west of Sibley and Dubberly, and we just got another update, new severe thunderstorm warning issued for some areas. This is some really heavy rain, and that is where that hail is most likely. We'll have to wait for some storm reports on how big that hail may be. This is the first time pretty much this morning we've seen anything in terms of close to significant hail size, and it makes sense with what we are seeing and with all of our data. So this is still a dangerous situation on the leading edge of this storm, regardless of the tornado situation, which we don't have any warnings out right now. It's still a damaging wind threat, and we're going to continue to see that for the next little bit in portions of the Arklatex as this moves into now the eastern half of the region. So we'll be monitoring that, and I'll send it back over to the chief meteorologist, Matt Jones.
Yeah, and so we got that new severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to go back to our programming here in just a moment. I just want to show you this one area south of Minden, as Austin was talking about. This is, I believe, one of the reasons why they just issued that new warning. We do have some strong winds showing up on our velocities here, 65 to 70. So that's certainly enough to cause damage. And I'm going to leave you guys with another picture of the radar here. And again, this is that whole line pushing to the east. But on behalf of myself and the entire weather team, fantastic job, everybody. I appreciate it. We're going to actually end our programming right now, send it back to regular programming. However, if we do get another tornado warning being issued, of course, we'll jump on and keep you guys first alert. For now, though, stay safe and hunker down for a few more hours, and this thing should be out here as we head towards the afternoon. Thanks so much.
This is a KSLA First Alert Weather Day.
Well, welcome back. We had a brief little lull there for about 2 minutes, and now we're back with you for a new tornado warning. The specifics on this includes north central Bienville Parish, southeastern Claiborne, and east central Webster. And I think it was for that area that I was showing just before we went to regular programming. It looks like this is in effect till 10:45, and storm is moving east at 45. This is a radar indicated rotation right now. So let's take a look at where that is. And it's a little area here. I mean, it's kind of embedded within that larger severe thunderstorm warning. But you can see that basically right along I-20. So that's pretty much going to be right along the southern area of Claiborne Parish here, and also including portions of Bienville Parish. So yeah, northern Bienville, southern portions of Claiborne here. This is just east of Minden. And actually, as a matter of fact, I do think this is that same area of rotation that we were showing you just before we went to our regular programming. So let's take a look at the velocity here. And oh wow, okay, that actually might be one of the strongest signatures I've seen today. So that's the area of concern right there, south of Louisiana 518. There's some really strong wind velocity showing up in that. So I don't think this is confirmed. This is a radar indicated, but just by looking at the velocity that our radar's seen, 95-mile-an-hour winds. Now you have to remember this is not at the ground level. This is a little bit aloft. So, translated down to the surface, that's, still probably about an 80-mile-an-hour wind. So that's the velocity that our Doppler radar is showing, and you can see some pretty strong winds showing up there. Let's take a look here at the debris tracker. See if we have any sort of debris, and it's really messy. It's really hard to see anything. We're a little far away from the radar site. So this is really not giving us an accurate picture if there's something on the ground. But based on the velocity that I'm seeing, there certainly is a strong circulation. You can really see that going right now. So red away from the radar, green towards the radar site. That right there is your circulation, and that's probably going to cross right along in south of Louisiana 518 and the town of Athens. If you're watching from the town of Athens there in southern Claiborne Parish, go ahead, get in your safe space, in your tornado safe space immediately. So let me track the circulation with that. And again, that's the most dangerous part of the storm. So if you see your town on this little list here, go ahead and take shelter. Town of Hurricane. I did not know we had a town like that in the Arklatex. Athens, 1016. Hurricane, the town of Hurricane there. That's in southeastern portions of Claiborne Parish. That'll be impacting you by 1021. Sugar Creek at 1024. And so again, this is really impacting southern Claiborne. And then again, I do think the circulation is going to be very, very close to I-20, but it should stay just north of the I-20 corridor. Any updates from chat that you guys see?
Nothing on the chat as
Okay.
of right now.
Okay.
Tornado warning assault radar indicated, as you showed, but it's got some serious nasty rotation to it, as you've mentioned.
Yeah, so again, well, I'm going to go back a little bit in time. So this was right around 10:04. You can see how that circulation just south of Minden was starting to tighten up, and then now really tightening up quite a bit. So this is the area that we're watching, and that's going to continue to make its way to the north and east. I'm pulling up a couple of different radar sites here. So this is the one. This is the one that's closest to the Doppler radar site in Shreveport, and then we'll kind of look at a different site here. So I'm just pulling different radar sites from around the region, but all of what we're looking at is indicating that we do have a pretty strong circulation, and if there's a tornado happening, it would be right there in the southwestern sections of Claiborne Parish, just south and west of Athens. So let me just widen this a little bit. You can see Interstate 20 is right here. There's Gibbsland, there's Minden, so this is safely east of Minden now. But again, if you're in southern Claiborne and looking out into towards Athens, this will be eventually moving out of our viewing area, but it is a pretty strong circulation. Let me look at the last couple of minutes and how this thing is tracked. I think this thing is basically moving almost due east, maybe slightly east-northeast, so let's do another track on that. And this is going to pretty much move right over the town of Athens there. So again, if you are watching from that area, please take shelter. You got maybe 5 to 8 minutes. I would say err on the side of caution and go with a quicker time because these storms have been moving very quickly. So Athens, I'm saying just get in your shelter now because this is basically going to be right on top of you. Town of Hurricane 1022. Sugar Creek, that is right there on the edge of Claiborne Parish, and that's going to be impacting you around 1026. So let me see if I see anything any updates from.
Yeah, I do have an update. This regards the tornado watch. We had a tornado watch in effect for the entire Arklatex earlier this morning. That has been updated and now only contains a little section of the Arklatex, kind of you have like a refresh, so to speak, on which areas can now have the potential for tornadic activity moving forward as we progress throughout the mid-morning hours. So if you want to pull that graphic.
Yeah, I actually don't have that at the ready for the moment. If someone else might have that graphic ready to go.
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Yeah, we can toss it over to Austin Evans. For that.
The subtitle's not going to be correct, but this area here, most of East Texas, portions of southwestern Arkansas, Oklahoma, now not under that tornado watch anymore. These counties and parishes still under a tornado watch until, I believe, 3 o'clock for these counties and parishes. So we will continue to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if a few more counties and parishes were shaved off, say Caddo and Bossier probably, but we'll wait for the National Weather Service to do that, and this will continue into the early afternoon hours, most likely, at least in portions of the Arklatex. And then I'm taking a quick look at live first alert Doppler radar and satellite. We do have the long line of showers and thunderstorms, and zooming into this area of rotation. The most significant, like Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones said, the most significant rotational signature that we've seen, also kind of the most significant bow echo that we have seen as well. We got a live shot at North Commerce Street that we want to take. We can go ahead and take that. And here we go. And if my mind is remembering, this is the area I used to drive regularly. And that is, the underpass there, it gets very flooded very quickly. So if you have to, I would avoid this area. Of course, we do have some police officers blocking access to that area. If you use this road to get into the Shreveport metropolitan area, say from North Market Street or what have you, you will need to find an alternate route because this will likely be underwater for some time going forward. And we don't want, we've already heard about water rescues today. We don't want to hear more about that. And I just heard something in my ear. What was that? Oh, never mind. I didn't hear anything. Never mind. Let's take a look here again at the rotational signature. Back to live first alert Doppler radar. And the rotational signature is still present just to the south of Athens right here. Once you're in your tornado safe space, if you're in this area, however, not as prominent. Though we were talking the yellows in the away, which we don't usually see. Still rotating, though, still a threat to portions of Claiborne Parish, amongst others. And here is the warning. It's not a very large one. Just to the north of Gibbsland, Arcadia, just to the south of Athens, pretty much following, crossing over LA 154 and into eventually the edge of the Arklatex.
All right.
And we're tossing again back to a live shot.
Yeah, we're tossing to, this is a live look at our fire department chief here.
Start over one more time. Wait a minute, wait.
I believe we're trying to get some of the audio in on that interview. Again, this is a live look on some of the flooded roadways in Caddo Parish. I believe this is just to the west side of Shreveport here at this time. Some of the flooded roadways that are ongoing, or I should say one of the flooded roadways that we do have across the Arklatex here at this moment of time. Let's toss it over to Chief.
Yeah, we'll get back to that live shot here in just a second. I want to show you what the area of circulation is right now, places that need to be taking shelter. So it did weaken, as Austin mentioned, it did weaken briefly, and it is still, looks like it's weakening. But if you are in Athens, we are likely seeing some damaging winds. So let's take a look at those wind velocities. Anywhere from 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts currently moving into Athens there in southern Claiborne Parish. And so that is the area of greatest concern. But what I want to show you is just a few minutes ago, that was much stronger. So we had that circulation really coming into southwestern Claiborne. That is when the National Weather Service issued that tornado warning. And then we stepped this ahead, and look at that. Look how quickly that's what I've been saying today. So these things are going to spin up very, very quickly, but also spin down just as fast. And that's kind of how these, circulations, these tornadoes tend to work along a squall line. You'll see them spin up very quickly, and then you'll also see them kind of dissipating just as fast. But nonetheless, still a dangerous storm with the potential for damaging wind. So let's do a new track on this. And again, this is already on top of Athens. This will be moving out of our viewing area shortly. Town of Hurricane, 1021 Sugar Creek, 1024 Corinth, that'll be 1032, and then again that is actually moving out of our viewing area by that time. So that's the area of concern in southern Claiborne. However, this whole area, the whole thing is warned. This whole line of storms is warned right now because it is a very dangerous line of storms. So you can almost make out that bow echo right there. Notice how this is kind of bowing forward. That's the potential for some damaging wind right there. And then let's actually look a little bit farther to the south, because I actually am a little concerned about this line moving into portions of Bienville Parish. So if you're watching from Bienville, this whole line likely has some damage, some wind damage associated with it. And so let me actually track that part of the line as well. And if we get that live shot up, guys, let me know. We can toss to that. Okay, thank you. All right, so this is the line pushing to the east. So these are locations that are going to be impacted here in Bienville Parish. And again, this is not the tornado warned part of the storm, but there are some damaging winds associated with this. So if you see your town name on there, go ahead, just take shelter. Hall Summit, that'll be 1022, Arcadia 1028, and the town of, don't know how to pronounce that, town of Brown at 1040, Grambling, and that'll continue eastward right about 1044. That would be in the path of that area as well. So that's what's happening in Bienville Parish, and then we'll take it even further to the south. I don't want to forget about anybody here. If you're watching from DeSoto Parish, We're actually tracking, I'm sorry, this is Red River Parish here, so near Coshada. So let's track this part of the line, and this is going to be making its way, again, everything kind of moving to the east. So locations in this area, we're talking about Coshada, that'll be right around 10:30. The timing here for you moving in, we're talking about Martin at 10:35, Castor, that'll be 10:26. So that's just about 10 minutes from now. And that's that part of the line that's moving through Red River Parish currently. And then we'll take this even further to the southwest and show you what's going on now into Sabine Parish. So if you're watching from Manny out towards Pleasant Hill, so southern portions of DeSoto, central and northern portions of Sabine, these are the parishes here that we're tracking. So let's do another track on that. And again, as that moves to the east, we're talking places like Manny, that'll be around 10:45 impact time for you. Campty, that'll be about 10:53. We're talking Natchitoches, if it holds together that long, that would be about 11 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Austin here in just a second. I'm just going to check on some things here in the background.
Yeah, Matt, thank you. We're continuing to track I'm continuing to track this tornado warned system just to the south of Athens. Again, the rotational signature not quite as prominent as it once was, but it's still rotating. And again, really this system across the Arklatex where the leading edge is, the damaging wind threat is the #1 priority, and we're keeping an eye on this tornado warning, of course, but with how soft the ground is, how much rain we're seeing, how quickly things are deteriorating as the strong wind passes over, that is where we get the potential for trees getting knocked down, power lines down. I did read an email from our executive digital producer that there was a tree down on a home in northern Shreveport, and I can't find that email, of course, but I did read it, and no injuries reported there, but it's not all that surprising to hear that with this system. And zooming out, there are still a lot of concern for damaging wind from the northern edge to the southern edge of the Arklatex as this system moves through. Thankfully, the farther south you go, the less intense it appears that the rain, the damaging wind threat is, because you see the darker reds and we've seen purples up here. That's where the highest wind and the heaviest rain exists in the Arklatex. And we do have an update from CJ, so I want to send it over to the touchscreen from meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
Yes, Austin, we saw a drop in these power outages as since the last tornado warning has been dropped actually around 20 minutes ago, around 10 o'clock. But since then, it's dropped nearly 3,000 outages, as you can see, still remaining the highest area with the highest outages here, Gregg County, Harrison County, as well as Caddo Parish. And I believe the power outages are growing as this system moves off to the eastern side of the Arklatex, sitting at 4,000 or just over 4,000 outages right now is Gregg County, 7,000 near Harrison. Caddo Parish sits at around 6,000 currently. Bossier Parish around 1,264, and just a little bit less than that near Webster Parish at around 112. But meteorologist Austin Evans was talking about the damage report of a tree falling on a home, and from our digital content manager, and from the Shreveport Fire Department, it said update on trees on a home in North Shreveport. Nobody was in the home, and there are no injuries. He thinks he heard Deer Park, and I believe the police report says near Deer Park Road and Empire Circle, and that happened at around 9:26 a.m. when that tornado debris signature was passing through the Shreveport and Bossier area. But thankfully, there were no injuries associated with this, but sadly, there was a tree reported that had fallen onto a home. So that's pretty much it in terms of the damage reports so far. So I'm going to send this right back over to meteorologist Austin Evans at the Greenwall.
Oh yeah, thank you, CJ. And this is what we're looking at, zooming out, resetting the view just a little bit. We have widespread strong thunderstorms, and out ahead of this line are severe thunderstorm warnings encompassing the rest of the Arklatex for the most part. At least we can turn on the warnings and see that the severe thunderstorm warnings do extend a little bit ahead of the line. Honestly, I'm expecting more downstream severe thunderstorm warnings to be issued, so we'll give you the first alert when they are issued. Just want to make sure you are first aware. Now, taking a look at that area of rotation, moving through, and I got to pop the warning up so I find it properly. We can see the warning here in southern Claiborne Parish, just over Athens, and this is what we've been tracking, and it's gotten a little bit more disorganized. And again, still a damaging wind threat. That has not gone away and will not go away until all of these storms are out of the Arklatex. But
And speaking of the damaging wind threat, there's been another damage report of roofs being blown off in East Texas near DeKalb, as well as southeast of Minden near US 80 and LA Highway 532. It's also another thunderstorm damage wind report of structures damage in New Boston. So damaging wind threat is not going anywhere anytime soon. Austin?
Yeah, CJ, and DeKalb, New Boston, Minden, all areas where we have seen tornado warnings today. So whether it be from straight line wind or from a quick spin up tornado, we have been dealing with a rather significant damage threat. Evan?
I just wanted to mention real quick, the tornado warning has been canceled at this point in time, which is good news for us moving forward. But yeah, we're starting to see finally a little less circulation, I guess, around that moment in time. What are you seeing on the graphic?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And what Austin was just saying is that circulation has weakened quite a bit. The one that was warned for that tornado earlier near Athens, and you can really see that. I mean, there's really not much left at all of this. So that's how, and that's what we've been saying all day today, is these are going to spin up very quickly and then also weaken just as fast. So that again has fallen apart here. And so as of now, we do not have any tornado warnings. We're going to stick with this coverage for a few more minutes. If we don't get another tornado warning by 10:30, we will try to go back to our normal programming. Hopefully we don't jinx ourselves here, and hopefully we can be done with this thing soon. But as of now, as of the current moment, we do not have any tornado warnings anywhere in the Arklatex. However, look at all the severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, I'm going to widen this even. I mean, look how large this area of severe thunderstorm warnings. This goes from southern Arkansas all the way past our viewing area down south of Toledo Bend. So that whole line there, that entire line is being warned. And again, the warnings are mainly for damaging wind, but we could have that potential for some brief spin-ups as well. And we've already seen plenty of that. And we actually have some reporters that are out surveying things, and of course they're being very careful. They're in the Shreveport-Bossier metro areas, and we're getting reports of some flooding going on in the East Bank district, and also it looks like there might be a car stuck in some high water off Milam and Douglas, and I think that's what somebody else was talking about earlier.
That's correct.
And so we got reporters there trying to see like what's going on out there, but obviously people are trying to drive in this, which you don't want to do because that becomes dangerous with all the high water that we do have. Again, there's this line. You can see how large this thing is, and it continues to race its way to the east. So this is a 3-hour-long radar loop, kind of recapping what we've seen today. Those storms moved into East Texas. We are getting some damage reports in East Texas of some roofs off, and I believe we had a camper that was overturned earlier in East Texas. That line racing eastward. So pretty much anyone behind this line, and let me put this to the current time right now. So I want to actually circle something here. If you are behind this line of storms, so I'm saying anyone in this region, anyone west of there. So if you're in that circled area here west of this line, you're in the clear. So basically look at this radar image. If you are west of that line of storms, you are done with your severe threat. The area that is still under that threat is going to be all locations that are to the east of that line, and that kind of corresponds to where that tornado watch is at the moment.
I also wanted to say, Storm Prediction Center just updated their recent outlook, and for the rest of the day, the enhanced look kind of shows essentially what that line that Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones was talking about as well, how it's essentially along and east of the line at this moment. So I'm not sure if any of y'all want to pull up the updated SPC or if it has updated on our graphics yet, but that is ongoing here at this moment in time. So as for now, yeah, what are y'all seeing the latest on with the radar here?
We can send over to Austin at the green wall.
I mean, yeah, I have pretty much the whole line, at least as it pertains to the Arklatex, pulled up, and we're still seeing the most intense stuff in the northern kind of half of the region. If you use I-20 as a bisecting line, most of it is to the north of it, though we do have some extending down into Red River and DeSoto parishes. But we're going to continue to see severe thunderstorm warnings over the next couple of hours as it moves into the edge, the eastern flanks of the Arklatex. What's happening, though, is these tornado warnings, these spin-ups are technically happening just ahead of the leading edge of the line, and then that leading edge of the line, as fast as it's moving, all the strong wind in that leading edge is just tearing apart that circulation. And though we're not seeing significant circulations, we are seeing that damaging wind threat continue. We do have the latest from the Storm Prediction Center that I just saw Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones pull up, so we'll send it back over to him so we can discuss that.
Yeah, so again, show you the radar here, and then I want to show you the new outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So it kind of matches up perfectly. You're going to see here in a second, everybody east of this line is still under that threat. So we're going to go ahead and pull that up, and you can see that that is the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center there. So basically, it's been trimmed away. You can see all locations west here no longer underneath any sort of a threat. Locations east still under that enhanced risk. And as we head through the day, what the Storm Prediction Center is going to do is they're going to continue to chop away at this from west to east as that line moves through. And I'll be honest with you, I think we are going to be completely done. We're going to be totally done with severe weather by noon at the latest. This thing is racing out of here. So this is great news for the afternoon. In fact, I think by about 2 o'clock, it'll be sunny. So that's crazy. We had all the severe weather this morning, and then in just a few hours, that sun will be returning. But let's take a look again at that radar. And we will likely go back to our regular programming here soon. Hopefully we don't get any more tornado warnings. As of now, it doesn't look like that is the case, so that is good. And we're going to send it back to our regular programming here in just about a minute. But I want to show you guys one more time this area, this entire line that we're tracking. Let's just do a quick track here for places like Natchitoches before we leave you. And again, that line is making its way to the east. So places like Natchitoches, you're going to be probably seeing this right around 11 a.m., if not even sooner. I would say maybe even sooner than that. Ashland, that's basically right on top of you as we speak. We're looking at Manny at 10:36, Campty 10:46. Natchitoches, that'll be right around 11 a.m. Dodson at 11:08, and Atlanta, that'll be about 11:20, and that's kind of moving out of our viewing area by that time. So again, leaving you with a picture of the radar here. We are going to send it back to our regular programming for now. We're going to attempt to do this again and hopefully be able to stay off air for a bit and kind of collect ourselves, and hopefully we do not get any more tornado warnings. However, if we do get another tornado warning, we're going to jump right back on again. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the entire weather team, thank you guys so much for sticking with us throughout the morning. It has been a very busy morning, and our team is out there. We got a photographer, we got our reporters all across the Arklatex trying to gather information about what's happened so far this morning. But again, stay safe out there. Avoid traveling for another couple of hours, and things should get a lot better as we head towards the afternoon. Thank you, guys.